Hi, welcome to our next episode. Today, I want to talk about a framework that I use in the corporate world, but I want to use it in more layman's terms because I feel sometimes when you do corporate lingo stuff, I don't know. For me, sometimes it's a little harder to understand. And then when you get too spiritual, it's a little too woo woo. So somewhere right here in the middle, I'm gonna try um, to to land, and hopefully it's easy to understand this concept. But for me, I found this concept to be a life changing concept for me because I was able to learn at the root why I'm not getting what I want out of life. So that's what I want to talk about today. So let's just jump right in. When we discuss things that are not working out for us in our life in different areas like work, finances, in relationships, we tend to blame circumstances. You might do that and you might say, oh, if things were like this, if this person was like this, we'd have a better relationship. If I was more, making more money, I wouldn't have these financial problems. If I didn't hate my boss, work would be better. And I would be in a better position if I wasn't promoted. I mean, I'd be in a better position today had it not been for this promotion that I did not get. Whatever it is, there's always an external circumstance that wants to be the winner of why you're not getting what you want. But today, I'd like to share that that is actually a false premise. And what I want you to know is the reason why you're not getting what you want is not because of the actions that you take, it's because of the way you see that situation. It's the observer in you. It's the way you see the world. It's your mindset. What does the observer in you consist of? It consists of how you grew up and the beliefs that you were raised to believe. It's the opinions that you have on different topics. It's the facts that you believe to be true when most of them are just opinions that you've carried on to believe are true. It is stories that you've heard throughout the years of experience yourself that you might or might not have attached interpretations towards, but most likely every single story that you've lived in your life has an interpretation attached to it. And that interpretation, many times, is not allowing you to see any other possibilities for the future of getting what you want. I'm going to talk about like what people tend to do. When you're not getting what you want, let's say it's a promotion at work, um, a boyfriend, money, a good reputation, things like that, people tend to change their action. The only two actions human beings can take are either physical actions or conversational. So you're either having conversations with people or you're doing something physical with your body, with your hands. You're lifting something, you're carrying something, you're dealing with machinery, you're carrying. That's different. You're lifting, you're working out. But I want to say maybe 80% of the results that you want have to do with having conversations. Most of the time, people try to have a different approach when they have to talk about why they deserve their promotion or requesting more money or asking someone to marry them or to move in with them or to be their boyfriend or girlfriend or to fight less, whatever the case may be. They try to take a different approach on how to get what they want. But again, that will never change the results unless you change the observer. So if you tend to go back to your action and just try something new, that's called first order learning. And 100% of the time, that if it hasn't been working for you in the past, doesn't matter how many different approaches you take, you're not going to get 100% of the results that you want. If you want different results, you want things to work out for you, you need to come back to the observer. And I want to say the one thing in the observer that you are that will set you free is saying to yourself, I am in charge of my future. I am in charge of changing the possibilities of what I want. I'm in charge of seeing options that will work out for me. That is the number one thing you have to focus on. So when you end up focusing on changing the observer that you are in that situation, that's called second order learning. That's what people need to conquer in order to get the results that they want. Like I said, the observer consists of different belief systems. So what an exercise that I like to do with my clients is have them write down on a piece of paper. They can write down different areas that they would like to improve. So it could be work, it could be money, it could be personal life, relationships, family, love, different subjects. And then next to it, write down what are some of the beliefs you have around those areas. So, what have you been raised to believe about love? What have you been raised to believe about money? What have you been raised to believe about work? And when you do that, you'll see how you feel, how those things make you feel. And if they're not serving you because you're not getting the results you want. So you're going to know that you're not getting what you want. You're going to know that that's not serving you because you're not getting what you want. So if you're not getting what you want, you absolutely have to change that belief. Okay. And so that belief, if it is in the belief spectrum, sorry if I'm being a little confusing here, but this is just one piece of your observer. So let's say you're in the love subject, and the belief that you have about love is that it doesn't last. Love doesn't last. And you can't find a partner that you want to spend your life with. If you see that the belief that you've been carrying with you is love doesn't last, and you're not in a lasting relationship that you want to be in, then you have to change your belief around that. And sometimes it takes going against your own will and going against a belief that you don't believe in because you've believed this one for so long. It's hard for you to accept that there could be another way of thinking. But you're going to have to kind of trick your mind to almost like reprogram your mind to believe something that you've never thought of or believed before. So you can just switch it and say, love is everlasting. Love is infinite. Love is caring, tender. Whatever statement you want to make around love, around what you would like from love. Avoid using words that like not or don't or won't, because you don't want to use any negative connotations when you're making a new belief system. Express what you would like and not what you don't like. And every time you're in a position where there could be love or you're looking for love, you can just tell yourself that new belief and that new belief, that new belief, that new belief. Love is tender, love is caring, love is infinite. And then the next action that you're going to take is going to come from that new belief system. And it's going to lead you one step closer to getting the results that you want. I suggest that you try this. It works like a magic trick and it can work instantly. But you really have to be open to the idea of changing any thoughts that are not serving you and belief systems that are not serving you. Another way to change your observer is if there's a situation that you're dealing with and you're not getting the outcome that you want, focus on that situation and think about what is your interpretation of that. And so try to reframe that interpretation. And an easy way to do that, if usually a situation typically involves two people. So if there's two people involved in that situation, give the other person the benefit of the doubt and tell yourself that. And again, I know it's easier said than done. I know that if you're in a conflict with someone and you want a different outcome, it's really hard to reason with the other person. But for your sake, not for theirs, for yours, it's super important for you to reframe your interpretation of that story and try to give the person the benefit of the doubt. Another thing you can do to change your interpretation is to just list the facts. So, a fact is something you can prove or measure. An opinion is a statement that different people around the world can have something different to say about that. So, if I say I'm tall, someone in Russia can say I'm short, but someone in China can say I'm tall because two people can think two different ways and interpret tall a different way. That becomes an opinion. So you have to be really careful about what is a fact and what is an opinion. When you have an interpretation of a story or a situation, break it down to just the facts. The other reason why it's healthy and also work towards getting what you want is because when you list just facts, it doesn't carry as much of emotional charge. This is a good way of just switching the narrative, sticking to the facts, leaving opinions on the side. And once you tell yourself that, and then you take action, having that conversation with the person, you're going to get a different result. These are just a couple little tricks that really have a profound impact in your life. And if you want to see a difference in some areas of your life, this is one of the best, if not the most important lesson that I can teach. And I can go into more details in the future if you'd like. And my next episode is going to touch upon this in more depth. So if you want, stick around to the next episode and I'll see you then. Bye.